Wonder Woman one.
There's so good.
So you can forgive me this morning. Good morning. Welcome to Screen Junkies. We're going to talk about the Russo Brothers. We're going to talk about a very odd Batman situation. We're going to talk about Spencer Gilbert's take on The Masked Singer. Danielle, we want to know what you're thinking about just life.
I took some Masked Singer notes. I did some research this week.
Good. I want to hear important because I have thoughts. Joe Starr is here.
Also here.
Brought his hair. Thank God. You guys can forgive me for being exciting this morning because I was talking about a very cute Wonder Woman onesie for a friend of mine. And it's got a cape and some shoes.
As it should.
It's got a hat.
That's pretty amazing.
Oh, shoot.
We gotta get mittens.
It should have, bracers.
Oh, darn it.
Just the sweetest little bracers.
Well, first I'll have to learn how to knit, and then I'll have to knit those. But for now, we'll talk about the Russo brothers, who may have some knitting time on their hands because it sounds like they're going to need a little vacation. They have said that via CinemaBlend that they regret shooting back-to-back Avengers movies. This is probably for a number of reasons, given the challenge around that. He said they would not do that again. Very candidly elaborating, this is Anthony Russo, who, if you listen to yesterday's show, you'll also note will be waiting for you outside of the restroom at any given screening to find out why you chose to leave at that moment in his 3-hour movie. You're going to have to go watch all of yesterday's episode to find out what I was talking about. He elaborated saying, I think the challenge for all of us was finding the balance between the two films because each film is so complex on its own that sometimes considering both of them was a bit overwhelming. So we looked for opportunities in the process to separate the two so that our brains could be fully focused on the narrative. While the films have a connection, as the Marvel films do, they are distinct stories, which let's unpack that in a minute. And then he just sort of talked about saying it was interesting, you're full on in post while you're shooting the first movie, and then it's your brain split. Usually you can hold on to a movie in your head, and now you're having to hold on 2 movies in your head. It's just kind of this schizophrenia that starts happening every once in a while. And added to that, I think one of the things Billy and I were talking about is just not being able to assess what worked and what didn't in the first movie and bring that into the next. So what are your thoughts?
Well, we've talked about that with the Netflix effect, where you shoot everything, you dump it all at once, and then that's when you find out if something didn't work. You can't course correct like maybe a network show could over the course of shooting a season. I don't blame them for this thought. I get tired when we have to shoot 2 SJUs in a day.
But we're really lazy.
Yeah, and we're like except for Billy, minimum effort. And that's exhausting.
Yeah, I've said 3 words so far during this taping.
I'm exhausted already.
Oh, so tie-tie.
Yeah, very tie-tie.
I am reading this live. Truth.
You are
Siri could do our jobs.
But yeah, I can't. I mean, Infinity War, my favorite Marvel movie? No, but is it the most Marvel movie that a Marvel movie has ever been? Yeah, and I can't imagine having to. And I'm assuming Endgame is also just a hell of a lot of movie as well. Maybe a double most.
Is it a Royale with cheese?
Yeah, I can't imagine doing a most and a double most with cheese at the same time. That's exhausting. And they both kind of look like, you know how when Obama took office, he just was still just this handsome young dashing hey, and then when he came out, he was just very gray and grizzled and looked like he had filmed 6 westerns back to back. That's kind of how I probably see the Russos coming out at the end of this, just a little tired, a little aged, a little ready to learn to knit.
I think it's sort of like what usually presidents come out much 10 years aged in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably where they are with this film. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's 6 hours worth of stuff that they've been working on back to back to back. And I'm sure that part of it had to do with some of the actors being I will only sign on if we can get this done so I can go move on with the rest of my life. Because we know that some of them aren't coming back. But I just... Yeah, that sounds so exhausting. It just sounds really tiring, and I'm glad that it's a lesson that they learned that they will probably never need again. So good.
This is probably, Spencer, don't you think it's going to be the most movie that's ever entered your brains?
It'll be definitely the most movie that'll ever enter my brain, because Infinity War felt like half a movie. It got you from the beginning to the down middle point of most films where it's oh man, shucks, we all lost. And then the next movie is going to pick up at that usual midpoint and bring us back to
How crazy is it that it was that much movie and it still felt like
and it's still half. Yeah, it's still half the story. I gotta wonder though, like maybe it's grass is greener, depending on which side you're on, because they're probably also kind of relieved that they don't have to keep dealing with this and deal with fan response and backlash. Be like, oh, okay, well maybe let's now tweak this and rework the story because people just like we're so crazy about where's Hawkeye, we got to put more Hawkeye in it. Clearly they anticipated that and put more Hawkeye in it.
And thank God.
I want to speak to the like one raging Hawkeye fan out there that's
They're
like
there.
very-
Yeah, there was I saw at least 5 tweets about it. 5
Yeah,
solid
solidly.
tweets. Yeah.
There's some folks out there carrying bows for
Yeah.
for Hawkeye.
Oh, I shoot for Hawkeye.
Yeah, I shoot for
I'm gonna shoot for Hawkeye.
Yeah, all out there trying to win an archery contest to get a kiss from Jeremy Renner. That's what his fans are doing. This is probably a different experience for the cast a little bit than, say, like the Lord of the Rings cast, who basically went to summer camp for 2 years
Yeah.
in New Zealand
Yeah.
to like film these movies
And drink ale.
and drink
Yeah.
ale.
We presume.
Yeah, and just do all of the New Zealand things.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, I agree with the sort of the take that it's like, we just want to get all of this knocked out. We're pretty done with going to the green screen to shoot blue villain fights. So we're
Yeah.
sort of wrapped
They
up.
did all get tattoos, though, or at least the original
So-
Avengers. all
Really?
got a tattoo. Yeah, they all got
Yeah.
a matching tattoo. That's like a stylized thing that looks like all of their symbols put together.
It says squad.
It says, I was gonna say, it says
hashtag squad.
SJU.
Hashtag squad.
Oh man. Actually, it's funny because Billy and I were talking about Joss Whedon and the first Avengers and then Ultron, and what happened.
Oh, that's
to
the
him.
movie that killed him. Yeah.
It really is. So I know I've told this story before, but very quickly, like I was on the set of Ultron and he looked like a broken, tired man. And he opened, it was a group of reporters doing an interview with him, and he basically opened going like, I'm lucky if I remember to put underwear on in a given day. And I think we were just like, well, let's start with the obvious question.
How's today?
How's today for you? And then I saw him, I went to the restroom and I was walking back and just saw him walking down the hallway on the soundstage like this.
Like Charlie Brown walking.
Just
Charlie
full zombie. And he looks up and he's like, hi.
Oh.
So sad. Marvel, Joss Whedon. But if you listen to, Billy was telling me, if you listen to the commentary on the Avengers and then immediately listen to Ultron, it's like, he's apparently like, yeah, people wanted the Hulkbuster, so I guess that
Gave
turned
it
out
to
okay.
Oh no, I gotta check that out.
It's so sad.
I love a depressed commentary.
So you have to think, are the Russos going to be broken shells by the time we let them go?
I mean, and part of that is also that not only was also Joss, but I'm assuming the Russos, they also not only making their own movie, but having to have their hands in all the other movies, like
Yeah.
showrunners, essentially to like make sure that these threads are also connecting. I'm falling asleep just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I hope
But
they
again,
get to
we
do
are-
smaller movies like Captain America Winter Soldier after this.
They've earned it. They've really earned
One for me.
Give him a Community movie. It's time.
Yeah.
The question, first of all,
Yeah.
we've all been promised that for a number of years. But the question that Billy was saying was, is it even worth it at this point for a director or directors to helm a Marvel movie? And the answer is obviously yes, because the Russos are now at a point in their career where they can sign their name to a project and get a check for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were not there as respected as they were before as television directors. That was not available to them. So for them, yes. For Alan
But at what cost,
Taylor,
Roth?
I mean, their life and their sanity, and probably their relationships. I imagine any given dynamic with future children or present children. Like,
Right.
But other than that, I think they're in good shape.
The scope of this, because it's not just making the movie for these guys either. It's all the press and doing cons and having to be sort of Marvel personalities and representatives on Twitter all the time and stuff like that. Like, all of that stacked in, that's exhausting. Like, that's you having to be on at all times for, I mean, how long were they shooting all this for? Like, including post-production? It has to be, I mean, that's a good amount of time, 2, 3 years,
well,
until everything's completely locked. And
Yeah, at
I will
least.
say though, sorry, but controversially,
Uh-oh.
there's 2 of them. Come on, you're splitting the work.
That's
True.
more than one.
That's more than one.
than
Usually
one.
this is one
It's
director.
at least double.
So suck it up. That's like they're doing one movie by doing 2 movies. Like that's
You're
what
right.
normal one directors have to go
You
through.
know what?
True.
Screw you, Russos.
They know what it's like to be one person.
We
Exactly.
see you doing the Freebird rule.
Now you know how Joss Whedon feels.
Yeah, stop prestiging us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the keeping secrets would be the hardest part because you imagine for people who recognize
prestiging somebody?
for prestiging, well,
Yeah,
everywhere,
definitely.
also for prestiging, yes, keeping the secret is the hardest part. Like it's anytime they go somewhere, they go to the con.
For me, it would be
they
the
have to
bird
prepared.
murder.
Bird murder would be the
It's a
hardest.
deep prestige.
Oh, that is a deep prestige show. Yeah.
Murder. But yeah, anytime that they talk about anything or they go anywhere, they have to be prepared for people to like try to catch them off guard for spoilers or secrets or any of that stuff.
What do you think? Like their waiter comes over to them and is like, "Sir,
Yes.
our
Yes.
special
Yeah.
tonight. We have the sea bass and also who's in the snack."
100%.
Yeah.
Did you say wine and Soulstone? Anyway, the Russos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Hopefully we get a good movie. I think
Yeah,
I think
it
we will.
will.
I think we will.
Yeah.
I think if it's a
Definitely think we will.
continuation, I don't think they need to change anything. Well, I guess we'll see after Endgame, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be like, ooh, boy, they shouldn't have done that back to
They
back.
whiffed
Could have
it.
fixed.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The one Lord of the
They
Rings.
prestiged Thanos. There's another one named Manos.
Fans of Fate.
You're not selling me on that idea. The one Lord of the Rings story that I thought was so amazing, and you never know if this is just like Hollywood legend or whatever, but that apparently there was a mountain that had all this snow on it, and Peter Jackson walks out and he goes to his AD, "Get rid of the snow," and then walks away. And people were just like, like hairdryer.
Need to get rid of the snow.
Get rid of the snow.
Get rid of the snow. I'm going to go have a flat white, which is a very delicious coffee in New Zealand, and be bake in 3 hours.
Do you think the sheer number of now I just want to talk about Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Do you think just based on the sheer number of helicopter shots in Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson looks at drones now and just gets so pissed off? Yeah. Those movies are like 80% helicopter shots, and now people are just like, you need an epic shot of your people walking across a valley? Done.
I thought they used eagles. That's cool. It's
Yeah.
Eagle cam.
trained
Yeah.
eagles with GoPros.
Anyway, all right.
Question ahead.
It's a good question, and I think you're probably right. I
He just
think
gets a little PTSD about it.
Yeah.
you know what, I like the idea of boxing a filmmaker like Peter Jackson in and saying, here's a drone and it's the only thing that you can use to make your next movie, and here's $10,000 to go
feel
with
like
that
he'd do
drone.
something
He would
dope.
do
I feel
like
something
he'd nail it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would do something amazing with those limitations.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd love to see the $10,000 version of Mortal Engines.
No, for sure. But I'm
Honestly,
really
I
serious.
would.
It's just
I
2
would
dogs
too.
with junk piled on each
Yeah.
other.
I'm a city. I'm also a city.
It would be awesome.
That would be
He would get
amazing.
weird puppets and like cardboard, and he'd be back in business. Back in business.
Yeah.
Listening.
You know who's back in business? Alfred, I guess. This one's so weird. This is via Deadline. So you guys know about the Alfred show, yeah? We talked about
yeah.
this.
I heard about this.
You heard about this?
There he is, steam cleaning the bat suit.
It's so weirdly going it's going to Epics in June, which I have to look this up legitimately if Warner Brothers owns Epics and why that is happening. So it's an R-rated Alfred that is focusing on young Mr. Pennyworth.
Yes.
And it's the showrunner from Gotham
Okay.
who is behind it. That's all I got, folks. You know, I need you to weigh in because I'm just a whole lot of what?
So this is connected to Gotham, but takes place. Is this a prequel to the prequel?
It's a prequel.
It says it takes place. This is the quote. Here we go. It's 20-something years before Gotham. It's a very different world. This is the DC version of 1960s London. It's not the England we know. It looks and feels like, but if you look a little closer, you ask, why is this like that? Why is
What?
that building there? What war is he talking about?
What? What?
So is
That
this
is some
I don't
crackling.
know.
That's a
Show
quote
description.
from Pennyworth EP Danny Cannon.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like the young Alfred.
Young,
so,
cool,
so
hip,
this is
badass
like
Alfred.
This Alfred F's.
Yes.
Is essentially what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The young Pope of Alfreds.
Yes.
Yeah, he blasts cigs. He Fs.
Yeah.
He swings.
Yeah.
He swings.
I like
Okay.
it.
All
It's
right.
1960s
It's the
London.
1960s. Yeah.
So are they saying that this is like an Elseworlds thing? So it'll be like an alt history thing, and
That could
it'll
be
be
cool.
like it's London, but a dirigible or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I presume.
think that's kind of what he's saying. Like,
Yeah.
Oh man, just gears everywhere.
yeah, the
Just
Revolutionary
steampunk
War
60s.
was different.
So it is the
like-
Mortal Engines version of Batman.
but with the dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm watching.
Yeah.
I hope
Great.
I hope Alfred has like a steampunk robot butler
Oh yeah.
that's like his Alfred.
And it teaches him how to.
Or it's like ALFRED and it stands for something and it's just like steam like blasting out of its corncob pipe.
Every now and then, it does like a train whistle.
Alternative. Hold on. Alternative life, functional,
Almost there.
robot.
Yep.
For education and development.
Educational development.
Yeah. It raised him.
Alfred.
It
Oh,
raised him as a
Alfred.
boy.
I raised you,
Just real
Alfred.
clanky, like, ah!
And
I
he's-
taught you to buttle.
And he's actually this badass secret agent, and he has to go undercover as a butler, and he does such a good job that the Waynes hire him.
That
to
is
be
Alfred's
dual,
origin story.
Yeah, that
not,
is-
not many people know
is-
that.
Yeah. Nobody knew about the robot before, so right here on.
I love you,
Yeah.
Alfred. I'm just imagining the day the robot passes away and Alfred's like, no.
Completely unhinged R-rated series.
The robot just gets visioned.
Oh.
Too soon. I'm sorry. It's painful. Are you watching this weirdness?
I feel like I have to. You know, I like when things are off the rails. I like when properties
Good.
get nuts. So I'm definitely gonna watch this. It's like a R-rated Alfred. I have to understand why and how and Alfred.
You have a need to understand.
I have a need to understand. My curiosity is going to kill me.
I know now why you Alfred.
It is something I could never do.
I don't know. On one hand, like SAS agent goes undercover as butler for millionaires is like an
Sounds like
interesting
an 80s
premise.
comedy.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Like
it kind of
Mr.
sounds like but there's something about.
Snaps the maid's neck. Whoops! Whoa.
I know
There's a
that
scene where
I know
Alfred
it doesn't
sits-
get
never
made
mind.
without the IP, but the IP is also why I don't want to watch it, if that makes sense. Like the fact that it's like it's an Alfred Pennyworth story. I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
As opposed to I don't
Just
know if
the
it's like
idea
if
of-
the Americans had been about the Waynes somehow or
Yeah.
something.
And they were super spies.
Yeah, and you're just, I don't
From
know, it
Russia.
sounds less interesting. Yeah, yeah. It's too early for me to figure out how Batman can be in the Americans.
Yeah.
But you get where I'm going.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Although that's a good opportunity for me to say, even if it was that, you should still watch The Americans.
Americans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on
That
to
needs a
Masked
graphic,
Singer.
by the way.
The Americans
You should
call
watch
out.
You should watch The Americans.
We need a graphic
Because we'll
for
be
that.
saying that for years. But you still have the opportunity, thanks to the advent of streaming.
Yeah.
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 You can do that.
Check it out.
You can catch up on these things.
Ethics.
Yeah. on
For when you've already got HBO,
Yeah.
Showtime,
What
Cinemax.
is the deal with
and
Epics?
Starz.
Like, why are they putting this thing on Epics? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Spencer, riff on something. Vamp here.
Oh.
Be
Oh, this is
funny.
a lot of pressure now.
Oh
Dance!
God, no, yeah. God, could we just talk about The Masked Singer?
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, move on.
So, The Masked Singer aired last night, as I hope we all know. Dan Merle is not here today, so we will get his thoughts on this tomorrow. However, I've got a bone to pick with you, Masked Singer. But we also got some information about the production.
It's owned by MGM.
Owned by
So
MGM.
I guess it's just being licensed out to Epics. It's just like a premium We Got Movies kind of station.
But
It's like poor stars.
how does that make any sense as they start to launch? They already have the DC service. They're launching their own Warner Brothers streaming service in a couple, like,
It's probably more valuable to like sell the Alfred show than to like
Than to
take
hang
up
on to it?
landscape on
Yeah,
on theirs.
maybe.
does that make you 100% convinced it is not good?
It's either terrible or you can't trust a studio to recognize a cool thing.
Yeah.
And they've accidentally tossed away a cool thing.
I think we can safely assume that this will be like Gotham, which
Yeah.
is like, it took a while to get its footing, and then it was a fun Bat World procedural, but it's not going to change your life.
Yeah, you're either into it or you weren't, I guess.
Yeah.
If this was set in the Schumacher verse,
Ooh.
I'd be down. I'd totally watch younger Alfred in a blacklight Gotham City, just like,
Yeah.
fighting guys just covered in glowing green paint.
Yep.
All right. You may get
He's got
that, but it'd be
nipples
in
on his
London
butler suit.
with a robot. So the Masked Singer, this is via the deadline and at the TCAs, the EP Craig Plastis talked about a little bit about how they kept the secret of the Masked Singers and who the celebrities were, which, by the way, I can't believe you guys did not anticipate internets. Like, the thing that we do is get together and figure things out together because we have the time.
They didn't know anyone was going to care, though. I don't
Yeah.
think they knew people would care this
Come
much.
on. Like, by the time you get to the show started last night, and I go, well, obviously Raven is spoilers for the Masked Singer.
Yeah.
Obviously Raven is going to be the one to get unmasked, and
Yeah.
obviously Raven is Ricky freaking Lake.
Right.
And then
Well, why did you
Robin
say
Thicke,
she's obviously the one to get unmasked?
because she was not the best singer.
Oh, well,
of the
okay, yeah,
bunch.
sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Monster is the only one that I'm still like, the fuck are you, Monster?
I'm
He
telling
keeps-
you,
It's T-Pain.
It is T-Pain.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the headset? What is
He
that?
games on Twitch.
Oh.
Part one of my research.
Well, but now I'm upset because that was the last mystery for
Yep.
me.
Yep.
Everyone else is completely obvious. You
Wait,
know?
who's the lion? Did we figure out?
Lion is Rumor
Rumor
Willis.
Willis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Rabbit, I have a couple of questions about in terms of
Rabbit
Rabbit.
could be one of two, I think.
Exactly.
Joey
It's like-
Fatone or
Or JC
who?
Chazé.
Oh, JC Chazé.
Yeah.
I think it's Joey Fatone because JC Chazé had the stronger voice of both of them. He had
And-
one of the strongest voices in the group.
And B,
My only...
Be still Gladys.
I agree until till they brought out the baking for her because I used the macaroni and cheese recipe from Patti LaBelle
That is
every
also- that's a
single
fair
year,
point.
and it's delicious.
One of them has pies.
yeah,
Nice.
one of them doesn't.
And one of them does not have pies.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So now I'm kind of like, okay, but it's still one of two.
Yeah.
you know.
But didn't one of them at some point, like in their weird masked afterwards when they talk and reveal their clues, one of them was like, I really tripped them up with that clue, and it's fake, or something. Like, they've said a...
No,
know,
they
it's
haven't
weird.
gone fully. Like they've said, oh, that threw them for a loop because like they didn't know I liked snakes or something like
okay.
that. But
Yeah.
I think that you only have yourselves to blame because you should be watching this. If you want the most enjoyment out of it, you should abstain from clicking on other people's in-depth breakdowns and research, and you should not go.
Have we met?
I'm just saying.
That's my. I do that for a living.
But I'm just saying.
I do that for you guys.
To be to the
That's my
casual
job.
observer, to just watch these things and just let it wash over you because you're not using your brain, you're watching television. That's the best way to appreciate The Masked Singer. Yeah, it's just like when they find out the twist on like Mr. Robot or some of these things like 10 episodes before you do. It's not fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes something away. But I will say that as mad as we are about the judges figuring these out, considering they're not using the internet because these were batch shot, it is a little impressive on their part.
Yeah, it's
that
not
they're
too
just
bad.
able to piece it together and guess correctly. Danielle, talk about things as I suss out. So go ahead.
So Chrissy Teigen, when I guess the story came out about the NDAs and everything, she tweeted that it's like not a joke because she knew people who worked on the show and she had been bugging them forever to tell her things and they haven't been able to tell her. And so a guy pops into her mentions, as people do, named Richard Sankey,
Sure.
who claimed to be the production manager and was like, you should have asked me. And I'm like, don't tweet that, Rich.
Yeah. Do you want to keep your job?
Yeah, but so he talked a little bit about it and how like they taped back in May and June. And he seems, I couldn't find him on the IMDb, but looking at his credits on IMDb, he was the production manager for Nick Kids Choice Sports and Guys Choice Awards.
He's
so
the
I tend to-
WikiLeaks of The Masked Singer.
Oh, wow. Well, apparently, so they shot it in May and June, as we predicted. So they've shot it well ahead of time. So the judges didn't have the opportunity, and the show didn't have the opportunity to respond to how people were responding to it and kind of mix it up and make it more of a mystery for us, A. And then two
They
is...
Avengers did.
The Avengers did. Avenged I.
They sure
Yeah.
for.
I'm drunk. I'm drunk. All right, in any event, aside from being drunk and high, we were talking about the Masked Singer. And the other thing that they did was they cleared out I'm not. If anyone that I actually work for is watching this.
It's morning, guys. We can't be drunk all day.
Yeah, at least 11:30, right?
Yeah, it's 11:30 somewhere though.
Yeah, like that's true. You're right. We should probably do shots. So they were saying that they cleared out the audience and only left about 150 people in the audience for the actual reveal, and they were like friends and family to try and
Like a sex scene.
Yeah.
It's like director only and friends and family.
Yeah.
To watch them.
Yeah, I wonder if next time they'll start doing, because, you know, as everyone here knows, and I don't know if y'all know this, in LA, it is very common to get paid to do paid audience work. Because for some shows, like an Ellen or something where they're giving a lot of stuff away, of course they know people will wait in line and they'll go see it just for the chance. But for some shows, like Steve Harvey's show or like other shows like that, they want to make sure they want to cast the audience. They want to make sure you're wearing the right thing. They want to make sure you're enthusiastic. And so those can pay sometimes like $60 a show or something like that. And I wonder if maybe that'll be the route they go through next year, because that way they can really tighten up and know exactly who was in the audience and pay them for their silence.
yeah. I don't know. I really do. We've said it a bunch, but they're going to have to change this next year, I think, in order to maintain the air of mystery that we so desire. Or, as Spencer said, we're going to have to be disciplined, which will not happen.
Well, I think that they should include, I think I've said this before, that the video packages should be 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah.
They should have misdirection built into it, because otherwise people are they have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, the clues are too good.
I also think
Some of the clues are like, here's where I was born.
or just like I forget how did they fully give away Ricky Lake last night? I mean, we already knew it was Ricky Lake, but
I used to host a talk show called Ricky Lake.
well, that's when I started to suspect. Yeah.
I think the show.
Oh
needs
my
more
God, they
stakes.
should fully Twin Peaks it. Like they should say the hints, but only like in the Twin Peaks. Only backwards.
Backwards and in a red room. I think the show needs more stakes. Like, someone important's kids have been kidnapped, and the only way to get them back is to
Are you a
correctly
bad enough
determine,
dude to win the Masked Singer?
You've got to determine who the identities are of the Masked Singers, and then like your family's returned to you.
Yeah.
I just think it needs,
I think we need to raise the stakes.
You figured out it's Ricky Lake. Who cares?
Yeah.
You figured out it's Ricky Lake in order to
Save
you
your
get your
children.
son.
Yeah.
That should only be one contestant. The rest of them should be B and D-list celebrities. But one person's just like, I need this.
Then the twist is like the monster takes off the mask and it is that person's son, and he's like, ha ha ha!
I knew. So you do love me, Dad.
Also, by the way, the competition should be
Robin thinks like,
reversed.
I don't.
The competition currently is stupid, and I'll tell you why. You can't have, if it is Gladys Knight, say, you can't have Ricky Lake competing against Gladys frickin' Knight in a singing competition. That's insane. So you need to reverse the competition. The competition needs to be who can guess who this person is. And the judges aren't judges, they're competitors. And also you should have 2 new people every time.
Yeah, they're playing with that, with the crown that they're passing around this time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like you shouldn't have this competition singing show like The Voice where somebody's the winner, because if it's not Gladys Knight, we failed America.
Did we put too much structure on it? And Joe, isn't the Korean show just a person comes out in a mask
Yes.
and sings, and
Sings.
everyone goes,
And
who are
then,
you? And then they take off the mask and everyone goes,
And
hey!
it's delightful, but we have to
exactly.
turn everything into a blood duel because we're
Someone has to
America.
win.
By the way, it should be a blood duel. Just reverse the blood duel. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying take the mayhem out of it and the murder. Not at all. Add it up. Ramp it up.
Okay.
Next season, we'll have it be that it's only people who could also believably fight, so Lucy Lawless will win.
Yeah.
Because she
Great,
can
yeah.
both
Yeah.
sing and believably
Yeah.
fight.
And believe
I also want David Fincher to take over the show.
Yeah.
I think David Fincher could give you a hell of a masked singer.
Or David Lynch.
Who made
As
Donnie Darko? That guy.
previously.
Bring the Donnie Darko guy back.
Oh, he has a whole situation. Do you know about that?
Not really.
There's let me recommend a documentary called Overnight. No, not Donnie Darko. I'm thinking of somebody else.
You're
Alright,
thinking
cool.
of the guy from Boondock
I'm
Saints.
thinking of
And
Boondock Saints.
everyone
Oh, yeah.
should see
Yes.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Overnight is amazing.
It is amazing.
Overnight is if you. It's weird because I use this I use it to describe one of the Firefest documentaries.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Essentially, it's like his friend who had been taping so that they could celebrate his big triumph. turns on him because he
Yeah.
ain't paying nobody. So it's just watching this dude decline.
Yeah, Overnight is exactly that.
It's
so
amazing.
it's the guy who made Boondock Saints, and he's like with Harvey Weinstein, and that's not what the doc is about at the time. But he's like on the rise in Hollywood, and you watch the self-destruction of a human being. You just watch him fully take any opportunity he has been given and light it on fire, and it's very disturbing.
Yeah,
But
because he
it's
has
a
no
very-
patience and he has no idea how Hollywood works.
He has no patience. He's extremely arrogant.
Very entitled.
He's extremely entitled. He's not willing to listen to people.
And
that-
someone like that made Boondock Saints?
But it's really, it's like sad. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, stop.
Yeah. It's like the not fun version of like watching David Brent on The Office.
Yeah.
Where you're like, just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you talking about?
Mass Singer.
Mass Singer.
Season 2.
We were
in any
fixing the
event.
show.
I think we're fixing. Yeah, I like the idea of punishments, Joe. If they,
Yeah.
for when they're unmasked.
But I like the idea. So I like the stakes, but I'm gonna twist that a little bit, if I may,
Yeah,
and say
absolutely.
that
Yes, and.
I would make it less of like you need to figure out who it is to get your kids back. Maybe that's good 1 week, and then the next
Mm-hmm.
week, if you don't figure it out, we're gonna dump you into this tank of sharks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
I'm
mean?
into
Just
that.
to add a little
Yeah.
variety.
Well, yeah, change it up.
Yeah. You don't
No,
want to
absolutely.
keep it stale.
Yeah.
I think they should smash
only
the
do so many
personal item.
kidnappings.
No, I agree.
They should smash that personal item if they lose.
Oh, the thing that
fail.
means something
Yeah,
to
the thing
you?
that means something to them.
Well, but it should be the same. Again, it's really not they shouldn't be judges. They're competitors,
Yeah.
and they have to have like a personal item that will get smashed if they don't get it right.
Is this kind of the Purge now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this would be playing
Yeah.
in the Purge
Yeah.
world. This
With-
would be the
with
most
singing.
popular
Yeah.
show.
And if you
Yeah.
guess correctly, like you win immunity from having a crime happen to you
Yeah.
next time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again,
Yeah, I
and
like
I
the
do
show.
mean this part. I largely mean the other things too, but like just make them different people every week. They should not.
That would be more fun.
That would be way more fun because you're giving us too much time to figure it out.
Yeah. Agreed.
We fixed it.
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah. Fixed it.
You're welcome. We'll take our
Yeah.
check now.
If Reddit
Shit.
can solve all major crimes in the world in a day,
Yeah.
then the Mass Singer is going to get wrapped up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that true?
Well, they don't get the right person.
But
but they do get somebody.
Solve it.
Somebody goes down.
That's the Reddit
Well, that's
guarantee.
largely how the justice system works,
Yeah.
I think.
True.
If I'm,
Someone's got to pay.
yeah. Ooh.
We gave Roth a
How did
sad-
we get here? Let the days go by.
Alfred's the robot butler.
We should just end the show. Oh, you should watch movie fights.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
going
end
to
of
kill
the-
Julian
yeah.
Prescott and Cameron Rice over who should play Wolverine.
Yeah.
Who
Danny
should
DeVito.
play? Yeah.
That was my answer.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice. All right.
I think we're
Bye.
done. Is it? But watch movie